Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, future super affiliates. This video, I'm going to be walking you through how to essentially have a solid business manager system which you can monitor and keep track of. Because I'm sure you guys are beginning to experience that the more campaigns you launch, the easier it is to lose track and lose discipline on what campaigns have completed the 3-day rule, where you are with which campaign, and getting that information straight away actually is quite difficult, which can affect your consistency with your campaigns and consistency following the structure outlined in our training. Now, what we have here is a spreadsheet. I'm going to build this from scratch, and so can you. So what I would have is I'd have business manager, and I'm going to actually zoom in slightly just in case anyone cannot see. Cool. So you have business manager. I may have origin in some cases, slash supplier, and I would have ad account. Then I would have status slash comments. All right. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what I mean by this and how this is going to look like when you start adding this to your campaign and start building up this system for yourself, right? So I'm just going to neaten this up a little bit. Add some lines. Cool. So let's say I have a business manager. I'll call it Rich BM1, right? Within Rich BM1, that was provided by a guy called Steve. And the ad account that I have here is, we'll call it ad account Rich Ad 1. And this is representative of the ad account, one ad account inside of this particular business manager. But within Rich BM1, I have 5 ad accounts. What I'd do is I'd copy this. Oops. And they've all, Rich BM1 was provided by Steve. And I've got ad account 1, ad account 2, all the way up to 5. So these are my 5 ad accounts, right? Now, I have a campaign inside of ad account 1. Let's call it BBA UK New York, right? And that's the current status. It's past the 3-day rule, and it's kind of going through scaling. So I'd say scaling, right? And then I make that green. This is a better green. So I'd make that green. Now, Rich-AD2, so my second ad account, I had another campaign running, but that campaign, the ad account got banned, right? So what I would say, I'd put something like disabled, appeal pending. So I've appealed and the appeal is pending. So I will then color this almost like a yellow. Yeah, like that. Perfect. And now I had ad account 3. And We're going to make ad account 3. It was disabled, but we never got it back, unfortunately. So the appeal was rejected. Now, for you guys, this gives you a good way to visualize everything that's going on inside your entire system in a snapshot. With a glance, you can see everything that's going on. And this spreadsheet will obviously get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you may want to even set up different sheets for like your current focuses on a different month or something like that. But this is just a general sheet and a general way for you to structure it. You may look at this and start getting inspired already with your campaigns and how you can set it up yourself that you can understand. But this just gives you a basic structure of how you can set up your business manager system. So we have another campaign, BBA UK, and this is at Amazon. And by the way, I'm just making this up, guys. This is not really what's going on in my campaigns. It's just giving you guys good examples of what could be happening. So we could just call this one past. No, we don't call it past. We just call it profitable. So that's just running, right? There's no like aggressive scaling or anything like that. This one's just running and it's green, right? So then there could be other situations where you've got an ad account and let's just do another one. It's another one that's profitable. So in the case where it says profitable, this could be a case where it's just past the 3-day rule and you haven't started scaling it yet. So most likely when things are in green, most of them will be at a scaling stage, right? Or we can have actually, let me just change it, or the optimizing stage where you are, optimizing. So you may want to change that green to something that represents it. It's just before the green in terms of the color chart, in terms of the profits and the scaling green. But you may want to start kind of building your own color codes based on what you feel like is useful. But this is how I would set mine up. Now I have another BM. Let's call it Rich BM2. I got this from Lucy. I'm gonna call it, C1. So this is the name of the ad account that I've got in BM2. Got that from Lucy. I have a different situation with this business manager where this particular business manager, I'm actually having payment issues. So I've just got the one ad account, but I'm facing some payment issues here. So I'm just going to put a note there and I'm just going to put a color code for that one. Just put that as this one. Oh. So then I have business manager 3. Now I got this from Jason. When you got one ad account, so we call it JJ1. And this entire BM was shut down because I only had one ad account and it got shut down. So I can't run anything else on this BM. So what we're going to do is, let's call that disabled. And you can put appeal rejected, because obviously if you get something banned, you need to appeal for that. It's your right to appeal. So we'll just put that down, try and get the colors to match. Bear with, is that matching? Double check. Okay. Yeah, cool. So essentially over time, as you can start to see, I begin to build up a full system where I have, multiple different BMs and different suppliers. And the reason why I have the suppliers is it then indicates, potentially which people are giving you the most BMs, because you can potentially, I may hit up Steve again, because Steve, Steve's giving me 1 BM, but let's say I have like Rich BM4, and that was Steve again. Obviously, you will probably want to put full names when you're running this yourself. But let's say I have another one, and it's like, Steve, and then no campaigns. And then I knew that Steve also gave me BM5, SJ1, and there's no campaigns running. But I start to build up a good idea of, Steve's BMs. I see Steve's name on a regular basis, and that tells me a lot about, Steve as a supplier for my business managers, right? So what we can do here, just to make things look a little bit better and make it a bit easier, I will drag this to the right. So I am building this one from scratch. No, I'm gonna insert one on the left. Actually, no. What I'll do is I'll do it like this. So just to help make things easier for you, what you could do is just, for each individual business manager, just make a little gap, just so you can understand and have a clearer view of what's going on inside your system. So reset that, and reset that. So for every block of BMs, I've got BM. This is all BM1. This is BM2, BM3, BM4, and let's just say BM4 has 3. BM4 has 3 ad accounts. So this is how I would separate it. But now I have a clear idea of what's going on in each individual sort of ad set on the ad set level with the business managers. And there's one addition that's very important that I haven't included yet. And that's adding some dates, right? Adding some dates to your campaigns. So for example, let's say I had this, I'll say appeal rejected 6/09/2019, right? So in the UK, that dating structure means the 6th of September 2019, for example. That's the dating structure for that one. Or let's say I've begun optimizing. I could state that the optimizing would have started for this one on 29th 09 or 29th 08 2019. And this is how you want to structure. You want to make sure you're assigning dates to each individual ad account and business manager. So for example, inside of Rich BM4 SS2, I may have just got disabled, right? So I've just got this one disabled. I haven't done anything yet. I haven't appealed. There's no appeal pending, no appeal rejected. So all I would just say is disabled, and then I'd put a date on when it was disabled. So you can put 04/09/2019, and make sure that's in red, because you want to make sure you're aware of all the disabled accounts very quickly. And yeah, so it's very important that you kind of start building out this structure. So even if I have like Rich BM4, Steve SS3, and I started a campaign with the 3-year rule. So I started let's say a Tesco campaign in the UK. I'll put launched. Then I could put a date of when I've launched that. So let's say I've launched it on the 2nd So that's the date where I've launched it, right? So this gives you a good idea of exactly what's going on inside of your BMs. You can color code it as makes sense to you, but typically this is how I follow my color coding structure. So if I have a campaign that's live, there's going to be some level of green to that campaign. That's just how I like to structure it. If the more money I'm making on a campaign, the darker I'd make the green. So let's say it's profitable. That's going to be a dark green. If I'm scaling it, it's going to be the darkest green for the scale campaigns that are scaling. So you can make that one. Yeah. Optimizing, and if I've just launched it, it'll be that. If I'm optimizing it, it can be this green, a little bit darker. And obviously rejected, I'll make it red. Rejected, I'll make it red. No campaigns, keep it blank. No campaigns, keep it blank. Payment issues, appeal pending. And whatever issues you're facing around the ad account, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of everything that's going on, because that really gives you some clarity on your entire system. And you want to have clarity, so you want to be able to scroll down for ages and just have an idea, because what this also tells you is different patterns from different BMs. So you may notice that every BM you get from Steve, you see the same issues coming up, and you know that, okay, Steve, there's something maybe associated with his account that's causing this thing to happen all the time. But you can only know that once you've got a significant amount of ad accounts with Steve before you can know that, and you can't just base it off of just 5 or just one ad account. Oh yeah, Steve is doing X now. It doesn't work like that. You need to have a lot. So don't worry about things like that just yet. But over time, you've built yourself a good log of information that you can use to manage your business managers and your ad accounts. But this system provides a great way for you to keep track of everything that's going on. And I'd advise you, as soon as you start a 3-day rule for a new campaign on an ad account, make sure you update this. Make sure you keep everything up to date. You can even have stages. So another way of doing this is, you have your status and comments, and let's say I have Tesco launched. I may want to then put on the next phase here. So Tesco launched, and now Tesco is at the point where we are optimizing, assuming that it's past the 3-day rule. On the 5th, optimizing, and obviously you only do this once you actually are optimizing, and don't just write it down for the sake of it. But yeah, this allows you to get full clarity of exactly what's going on in your campaigns. So obviously you don't need to add another row, but if you work like that, if your brain logically works like that, then you may want to have that structure where things are continuously flowing towards the right hand side. So all of these may just say launched, and then you can show the next stage after you launched them. And you can provide the dates of when everything was launched. So a good example is like this one. So if I put launched, or if I just move this one here, and I put this there, I can then cause this one, so launched, and 3-day rule, so the launch is the 26th, right? Or for this one where it says profitable, I can also put a date on when that was profitable. Let's say, I don't know, it was profitable on the on the 12th, 09. Don't know why I put 20. No, it says 2018. Let's change that. That says 2020. Whoops. So let's change that. So the profitable one, you may want to do this. Put that there. Put that there. So by the way, you can see that there are 2 Amazon campaigns that are running, but ignore that. That's all good. So let's paste that in there. Let's paste this in there. So this would be launched. Again, this is only if you want to follow this structure where I'm doing it almost horizontally, and I'm setting things up horizontally. And you can then put optimizing, and then you can keep the color coding as you would. So that would be that. This would be the lightest green. You put the 12th. No, the 12th is when so you say that this one launched on the 9th. began optimizing from the 12th. Yeah, that's fine. And then it's fully profitable after this point. And then you started scaling at this point, for example. And this just shows you a rough structure. You don't have to stick to this particular way of doing things. But the main thing that's important is that you want to make sure you're assigning dates with each thing, because that gives you a good indication of, how long campaigns have been running for, what's the status. Then that kind of tells you, like, okay, this particular campaign, I started scaling it from the 14th, and it's been running till like, I don't know, November 14th. No, I'm just an example. But let's say it was running for that long. Like that particular method of scaling that you're using may be better than another method that you use for that particular campaign, right? So it's important to just keep a log, keep documentation of how you're running things. It's just very important that you keep a good structure. And this essentially just shows you how to essentially keep a track of your different BMs. These are individual BMs. I've got my suppliers for each BM. So I've got Steve that provided me BM1, and Steve also provided me with BM4. And then I have my different ad accounts inside of each BM with the different statuses and comments. And then, as campaigns move forward, you can kind of keep track of like different phases. So you might have launch, you may remove all the optimizing stuff and just have launch, profitable, then scaling. Entirely up to you how you want to structure things. But this strategy gives you a good, well thought through overview of your business manager system. So I will suggest that everybody starts to have this document set up inside of your sort of Excel sheets or whatever you use, and just keep track on a regular basis of all the campaigns that you're launching. And some campaigns you may have launched, and then you may have gone straight to disabled as the next phase. No appeal. And you can just give a date. So 05. No. Be disabled 27 08 2019. So this one would look like, so this one essentially would be disabled, has been disabled a day after I launched that campaign. So I'd make that whole thing red. And that means that every time I go back into the spreadsheet, I know this particular ad account is disabled straight away. And I know that I haven't appealed yet. So when you start building a log of like no appeals, you can then just go into this sheet, find out everywhere where you don't have appeals sent, and you can just set an appeal. And because you are appealing and you're putting down the dates of the appeals, you can then say like, this appeal didn't go through. I may try again, in a week or something like that. And you can kind of build a good flow and a good status update for yourself of, appeals that have been successful, appeals that have failed, and you can start seeing your true ratio of appeals accepted based on you logging all this information in. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this clarifies, how you can manage your business managers and you can have a good system going forward. Please start to implement this, because as some of you, especially the students who are doing quite well and launching several campaigns, so as some of you would have experienced, that it becomes very, very difficult to keep track of everything. So please make sure that you keep a log. You can do it in your own style of how you want to set things up. The way I typically do things is that I like to keep the color coding the same. So let me just update the color coding. So like if I keep the color coding based on the last action. So the last thing I've done for this particular ad account was started to scale, right? So I've kept that color coding all the way throughout. And that means that whenever you're looking, you just know, okay, this color is scaling. This color is something is pending, but it's been disabled or something like that. This one is just payment issues. This one is, disabled when it's red, right? If it's this color, this shade of green, I know that it's just launched and I'm going through the 3-day rule. So you want to keep a log of everything. You want to make things very clear. So every time you just log in, Everything's just visually there, and very easy for you to digest. So take this with a pinch of salt. You can use this, you can copy the same structure, but make sure you're doing it in a way that is easy for you to understand based on how your brain works, which is something that I can't predict. But this is just how like my brain works. Colin's brain works in a similar fashion as this because we set things up in the same way. But you, as an individual, may have a different way of wanting to do this, and that's completely fine. The main thing is that you are keeping a log of every single ad account, every single BM, and you have good enough information to help you improve your business with CPA affiliate marketing.